I heard somewhere that if you feel like you belong to something, it can add 8 to 10 years onto your life because you feel like you have something to live for. And so, the first practice of the year, my brother takes on anybody with a willingness to be part of something greater than themselves. With a willingness to be part of a brotherhood, and a willingness to work hard and show their competitive fire. And if you're willing to do that, my brother would take you onto the rugby team because he wanted people to be a part of it. Oh, you're a former football player? Great, play rugby. You're a former baseball player? Great, play rugby. You haven't played sports at all in your life? Great, we'll teach you. We just want you to be a part of this. And there was a play in which this freshman, Gianpaolo, was tackled. And he was at the bottom of guys twice, 3 times his size. And he was just at his end, and he wanted to quit the rugby team. He actually wrote my family a letter after Dan passed away and told this story. He said that when he was at the bottom of the pile and thought about quitting, he literally thought about quitting after this play, walking off the rugby field and not having something to belong to. And then he felt my brother lift him up. And it's not past my brother's ability to do this because he's huge. He is a big boy. So it's not past his ability to do this. So he picks this kid up over his head. And even though he got tackled, he made a big deal out of the play because this kid ran the ball all the way down to the try line. Even though he didn't get it, even though he didn't put points on the board, he was still happy. And when I saw this letter that this person wrote to my family about how my brother made him feel like he belonged, made him feel like he had a purpose, made him feel like he had an identity, made sure that he fit in an unfamiliar environment, I was like, yeah, that's exactly who my brother is. That's exactly who my brother is. And he became to be a 4-year player on the rugby team. And if it wasn't for that practice, and for my brother picking him up, literally picking him up, and making sure that he was part of this team, I don't know much about him other than that, but I can't tell you if he would have been happy at St. A's. And St. A's is a big part of my brother's life, and it was important to him that all his friends felt that they belonged. And if he can have that type of effect on one person, you can imagine how I felt when I got to spend 23 years with him. He didn't look at me like a person with a disability. And now I believe that I am a person that is living life in a chair. I'm living life sitting down. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm living life sitting down. I do everything that everybody else does. And that's what it's all about. You make the best of what you have. Because you can't go back. It's not like if you screw up in a video game, you can hit the reset button. There's no reset button in life. And my brother made sure that it was possible for me to live life to the fullest. If I needed to get somewhere that had steps, he'd carry me and then he'd go back down and get the wheelchair. I could tell you that I probably wouldn't have had 50% of the experiences in my life if it wasn't for my brother. Because this world isn't forgiving to people in wheelchairs. It's not accessible. You can't get around very easily without having to ask for help. And we all have to ask for help. And that's the coolest thing about what I do, is even though I'm talking about living life with cerebral palsy and living life in a chair, it's relatable to everyone. Because at some point in your life, you're going to encounter challenges in your life, and you're going to have to face the adversity, or the alternative is, oh, I'm going to just fold up in the face of adversity, in the face of challenge. And that's not who I am. That's not who any of you should be. And I know I said I'm not going to tell you how you should be, because that's not my job. My idea is to get you to think about how you can live your life more positively, how you can live your life when you see somebody sitting on the sidelines, when you see somebody who has to live their life a little differently. Because you know what? It's not their choice. But what is their choice is how you live your life. You don't choose how you were brought into this world, or what you're faced with in life, but you choose how you deal with it, and you choose how you live. And you can either choose to live positively, or you can take it out on people, or you can project your frustration, or project your anger on people who care about you. And that's not who I am. I live my life positively and with a purpose. And you might not be in a position where you have to make, life-changing decisions, where you think about going to college or what you're going to do after school is over, because you're not in that position yet. But in the next 1 or 2 years, you will be. And think about where you're going to be most comfortable. Where do you see yourself? Where you're going to be accepted? Where can you find the next brotherhood that you're going to be a part of? Because I've only been here for like a half an hour, and I can tell that this is a pretty good one to be part of. Because people who have graduated from here, they're coming back. And they still want to be a part of what is going on here. And if you can bring past alumni back into the same community, and bring people in here to bring positivity to this community, it's only going to grow from here. And for me, I'm so lucky to have people in my life that just show up when I need them to show up. Because, to be honest, I didn't really know what to do. Anybody doesn't really know what to do after they lose somebody as close as Dan was to me. But I knew I had to make something positive out of it. No matter how negative the negative is, there's always something positive that you can come out of it. You just have to look hard enough. You gotta look hard enough, and you can't give up after something happens. You'd be like, oh, all right, a little adversity. I'm just gonna sit here and wait for it to get better. You have to take a proactive approach to your life. And there's going to be people that will help you. I have to say that I feel very fortunate to have all the friends that I have and to have met all the people that I have, because now people just show up in my life. And every time I look at a different person or a different friend, I see characteristics of Dan. And I just feel very fortunate to have built this community of people that's around me. And they make it possible for me to be who I am, even though Dan's not here with us on the earth anymore. But that's okay, because I still have goals, I still have dreams, and it doesn't stop just because we hit a little adversity. And it might sound like an understatement, I say little adversity, but I've had this mindset, I've had this mentality my entire life. I didn't hit a switch that says, oh, I better figure out my life now because my best friend, my brother's gone. No, I've had this foundation my entire life. I just benefited a whole lot more from having Dan around. But this is my foundation. And that's the key to success in life, is having a great foundation and having people that you know that when you're having your ups and downs and you don't know what's going to happen next, that you have those 3 or 4 friends that you can say, hey, I need help. That's what you got to do. You got to have those 3 or 4 people that you can always say, when you need them, you're going to be like, okay, this is when I need you. This is when I need you to be here. And I don't have that superstar person in my life anymore. But I have a whole lot of people that want to step up and fill the void. I have a whole lot of people that want to step up and fill the void, and I feel very thankful for that. And it's pretty awesome. I want to close with this story. One of my favorite movies is called The Pursuit of Happiness, and it's one of my favorite actors, Will Smith, and he has a son who he's supporting on being a traveling salesman. And the story is that if he doesn't sell his quota, he's not going to be able to put enough food on the table to support his family. But he's still finding a way to be happy, even with that stress on his mind. He's still finding a way to be happy, even with that stress on his mind. And you know what that says to me? That says, no matter what you're going through in your life, there is a way to be happy. Because you're walking around from homeless shelter to homeless shelter, trying to figure out how am I going to put food on the table to feed the one person I care about most. And you can still walk around the streets and have a smile on your face. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. And that is the mentality that, I'm not saying you're going to be happy all the time. It'd be pretty weird if you were walking around with a smile on your face. People will have some questions about you. But you can be happy. There's a lot of things in your life that can bring you happiness. You just got to find out what it is. And that's one of the greatest parts for me growing up, is figuring out what makes you happy. Figuring out what you can put your time and energy into. Figuring out what you're passionate about. Your life